Hello, hello, hello. It's your new day with Donna Reiners and Dr. Owen, where we solve all the world's problems, or maybe just one. And maybe it's yours. In our 30 minutes, we talk about your emotions and mind and how they tie into your body and spirit. We want you to renew and restore yourself in a world that wants you crazy. And sometimes we even talk about money. Introducing your hosts, Donna Reiners and Dr. Owen. Hello, hello, hello. This is Donna Reiners and
Dr. Cammy,
where we are going to solve all the world's problems, or maybe just one, and maybe it's yours, and this time it might be mine. So during shows, we were talking with someone who was trying to help me understand from the last show the difference between the spiritual and the physical, the rules in the physical versus, I don't believe there's any rules in the spiritual. And the caveat to all that was, but I know, and I won't say the church, and there's more than one, but I know some churches that have such supernatural oscillation, as you call it, such supernatural, and it's love. It's not just, these are churches that genuinely love people, attract different religions, and people just come because they feel loved, and they don't gather around belief systems, where during worship and things of that nature, there are people levitating, all sorts of things happening, because their supernatural space is occupying their physical space in such a way that the spiritual is definitely leading. And so that's where those cross, where, in my dreams for years, we all have flying dreams, but those are more encounters, where you're traveling to different places. I remember as a child, I would fly down the road we lived on, and we were right next to a forest, because we lived in the piney woods, and right next to a railroad track, and then the forest on both sides, and just a few houses way down the way. And I would fly down there in the middle of the night. It was just such freedom exploring. And I knew that it was real when I was a kid. And I would wake up from my real world. I'd wake up to this world and go, man, it's so different. Because I felt so alive in those true encounters that I was having. Now, when I was a kid, I could levitate pistols and things of that nature. I can say I haven't attempted to do that since I shut down those things a long time ago, and I actually see no fruit in doing it now. So if I want to levitate something, I would rather it be me anyway. Let's go somewhere. Let's go to Rome, And so my like, we both takes a moment we're both external, we're expressing. The point is that we do have the rules. We're talking about rules on the last show in the natural realm, I guess. The natural realm, right?
Well, yes and no. So let me just talk about that. There is quantum physics and there's Newtonian physics, and they both describe the rules, okay, as we understand them at this point. I believe there's much more to understand and remember, but where we understand it at this point, we were talking about gravity, for one thing. That describes a very top level physical science, and this is where mainstream science gets really hung up, is they feel like everything has to operate inside of those rules, okay? And it doesn't. Absolutely, it doesn't. So then quantum physics describes at a submatter level of how things work. And that's a more accurate depiction of what happens when you're pre-matter. Okay, and pre-matter is before you have matter. And we can even go
before we're born?
No, because there's a pre-matter part of us right now in this existence as well. So It's like your energy room is dealing with the pre-matter part of it. And the pre-matter part of us as a physical being is the instructions, the morphogenetic fields that we've talked about before. That's pre-matter. That's quantum physics. That's the rules within the quantum physics. And you can argue with me about this, but there are rules inside of that too. Because again, it would be chaos. It's like having no logic in a computer program. There has to be logic inside the computer program, or we wouldn't look the same. We wouldn't, have some fundamental things that make a human a human. There are fundamental things that make a human in this realm. Would you agree with that? Yeah. Now, are there people that are more able to exact the entire human experience? Because what we experience right now as human beings is this much of what is actually designed in us. We're this much. But we, through corruption, through these things that you don't want to, acknowledge that happen.
It's not that I don't believe they happen. It's just I believe that we can develop those areas. And
I do
corruption,
too.
To me, corruption is like it's broken, but
well, you have to know it's broken if you got a flat tire, but you hear this whop whop whop, and you don't know what the heck is broken. Then you have no way to go in and rectify it.
I don't know. To me, that's more like you got to repent of your sin when sin has already been forgiven.
I don't believe any of that. I don't believe this is sin at all. I believe this is science.
I know, but I'm saying an example is, to me, that's the same as believing. I'm talking about an example of you don't have to believe something's broken to fix it. It's like if you have a bottle of Coke and you just keep pouring water in it, eventually it's going to turn into water. So to me, the renovation of our minds, the renovations of what we believe, the renovation of thinking differently, it's not either or. You don't have to actually see you're broken in order to fix it. What if you just begin to open yourself up? And that opening up and that changing your mind and that moving forward is what causes the new road to be built so that this other is just left behind. Yes, and consider that, okay, you decided to heal this thing, and you're not, you don't know what's even broken, but you're going to heal it. Consider there is an actual process that happens for that to be healed. I agree. There's a process, and that's unless what I'm saying. Just supernaturally able to do it, which that happens sometimes. Even in the supernatural, there is a process. This happens, this happens, this happens, and this happens before that healing happens. And I'm saying that is an actual order to this time-space continuum. There is an order to it. Whether you understand it at a subparticle quantum level, it exists. It does exist. And so that's all I'm offering is that there is such a thing. I can actually talk in detail on a lot of this and exactly how it actually happens. I understand process. I talk a lot about process. There is an actual quantum and physical process that happens to exact that healing that you're talking about. And I'm not talking about the whole, outside of this bubble, because that's a whole nother conversation. What I'm talking about is right now in this 15-dimensional time-space continuum that we are in, and there is a process. There's a quantum level process, there's a physical process, and there's higher realms process that that exists. Okay, so I still don't quite get the 15 bubbles, but that's okay, because we can do this show every week. So are you saying that we live inside the 15 bubbles, or the 15 bubbles live inside of us? Yes. Okay, that makes more sense to me than us living inside of something that makes more sense to me, given what I believe, because we do believe the same thing. We just come at it from it's semantics very different ways. It's just semantics to me. Whatever
however you want to put it, because
I'm not as sciencey as you are.
We
so
are limited to our mind and what our mind can actually conceive at this level of consciousness. We are limited to that. And people have higher level of consciousness. Think of it like think of it like panning out and being able to see the whole picture. And right now we can see this much. Some people can see this much. Some people can see this much. I think you're one of those people that can see this much. But it's still not the whole picture. It's
of course.
It's depending on how far out you can zoom to see all the moving parts and all the moving things. And I have personally seen it in the more science realm or the more quantum realm than most. Okay, I'll just say that. And having the understanding, it's harder to me to articulate it sometimes, because it's hard to put words into explaining something that most people have zero context for.
Correct.
It's very hard to explain that and downwardly cause it to a verbiage that people can actually assimilate and accrete at whatever consciousness. We're talking to several different consciousness levels of folks that are watching this.
Oh, I know.
And some people will get it right away, and some people they are crazy as hell.
But they keep coming back because they want to understand.
They do, because it's
the principle of the thing. I can get this.
No, it's because the energetic side of us, the frequency side of us, is also speaking, and it supersedes the mental brain stops that are put in there, but the actual energy is getting put in, and that part, that consciousness level part, is actually hearing it loud and clear and going, yeah, I remember that. Heck yeah, I remember that. And then able to bring that into the conscious part of us, that the awareness part of us. And that's all we're trying to do, is pull this consciousness awareness thing together at higher levels, and understanding and remembering. Because we're not learning any of it. It's already programmed in. We're not learning any of it.
Which takes me to my belief system, which again is a tad different than most Christianity, simply because there are places in the Bible that I take literal, and then there are places in the Bible where I understand that the whole thing's been translated a gazillion times, and who knows what it actually said in the beginning anyway. No matter what book you read, I'm guaranteed there's been something that's shifted from the original, because every single religion has the intention to control what they don't understand.
This is true.
That's just, I don't care what religion. I do not care what it is. Every religion wants to control something about the people and what they get, because they want to make sure they control whatever is believed. So I don't even know if caveat's the right word, but it's such a good word. My caveat.
Could that be aliens?
It could be. What she's saying is because of what I believe. She and I both have a real solid baseline for our belief system. And because of my belief is, we all, literally, all of us, all of humanity, even the Hitlers, don't care, that we all came from God. Like all of us, I believe. Now, I could be wrong about the when. I don't really think that matters, to be honest. I just like creationists or whatever argue over, we were created literally 7 days or 6 days or whatever. I'm like, who cares if it was a gazillion years or if it would happen in literal days? I don't really care. But what I do care about is that all humanity was created spiritually at the same time. When God, our Father, or whoever you want to believe him to be, I don't think he's hung up on his name. We're the ones who have the issue with identity, not God. God created us regardless of what you see him as or call him. That we were all created from him, with him, by him, and inside of him. And that's why, or him, her, whatever, again, don't care. But we were all created from, in, within. And because of that, we all live inside of the one who lives inside of us. That's why in my heart, there is no separation. That's why in my heart, there's no corruption. That's why we had a little heatedness for a minute. Because I'm like, wait, I don't believe we came from a corruptible space, and therefore I don't believe that there's something that's broken, even though I recognize I have terrain issues, which is just your biological mess. I have things happening, but I focus more on the truth, not the fact. Facts can change. Truth remains.
So how is that different, though? What you just said about the terrain, and that's further down here.
It's like way low level, because I'm still dealing with, even though I might fly to different countries and wherever, but I still deal with taking my homeopathy every other day.
But how is that not, that cannot exist at higher levels of consciousness? The same thing.
I believe that it does. That's what I'm saying. I believe it does, because they go together. But see, to me, the highest space of consciousness would be the creation of all of everyone and everything at one time. We are all made of light. Even animals are made of light. You know,
there's sound first and then light.
We have light. However, God spoke. There's that, and then there was light, and there we were. However, whatever, don't care. One day we'll have all that really answered. If it's not tomorrow, whatever. So I think that it's all the same. It's all the same, but I'm bringing the relevance to the ones that watch our show that are making the transition from religion to relationship with the Christ or with God or whatever you want to call him. And I know a couple of you watching me, I know, because you've been commenting and you're upset with me. I know. I get it. But you don't have all the answers either. And if you want to spend your time dotting my I's and crossing my T's, that's okay. If you think that I'm that important to you, that's fine. But I suggest you spend your time with the one who lives inside of you instead of focusing on how you want to correct me. Honestly, I think you'd have much better fruit in your life, much more joy, much more love, much more peace. You know, all those things are the fruit of the Spirit. Anyway, that felt very led. Because you know who you are. And you can correct her on your time, too.
And I agree with you 100% that the directive, the main, put all the other stuff to the bottom, is a relationship with you and
with ourselves
and God. Yes, I agree with that 100%. That is the primary focus of our existence, is that relationship.
So in these 15, now, would another word, just get a little bit more offbeat, would another word be portals?
No.
Just dimensions. So portals are more openings. So dimensions are...
And there's portals on the planet right now.
I believe that.
I believe, if we want to get back to the alien thing, I believe that that's part of the big battle right now. Most wars on the planet have all been around who controls the portals.
And so now this brings me to where I have issues, this is where I have a conflict in that I don't have answers yet. So this is not me clinging to something I believe. But if I do believe in what the Bible talks about in Colossians, about how at the cross, all the territorial controllers, principalities, were confronted and put under our feet, or however you want to say it. Disarmed is the word that's used. But then in 40 years later, that's when the actual belief system was put away because of getting rid of the Jewish temple, destroying the temple. That's when in the natural realm, things were solidified. And that's when the Christ came to live within. It's like you will no longer go to a man to absolve your sins. You will no longer go to a human being to do that. I live inside you now. You're free. So in that space, I have a conflict with anything evil coming to get us, because there's so many Christians that are devil worshipers. There's a devil under every tree. There's a Satan. Oh, Satan made me do it. There's, those were spirits. Those are spirits. Discernment of spirits. There's discernment of evil spirits. It's like, if the Bible is true, Mr. Bible thumping dad. And if those principalities are really truly disarmed, then what the heck is all of that? Because that makes no sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead.
I'm aligned with you on that. That this evil and the Satan and all that is not something to fear.
I mean, what do they? Why do they have power? They only have power if we give them power.
Absolutely.
And they're not even around. They're not even real unless we make them real. Is that correct or no?
Yes, and because we manifest, but I also believe, going back to the rules and the way things work.
Okay.
We're in a dualistic society, dualistic existence right now in the 3D realm. Not all the realms, but in this 3D realm, there's a positive charge and a negative charge. That is the truth as far as science goes, as far as the physical realm goes, but in quantum physics as well. That exists. Okay, so inside of that, there has to be a positive and a negative. You can call it good or bad. I don't choose to see it that way. It's a positive oscillation and a negative oscillation, and we also have the free will to choose how we're going to see things or interact with things. So what we're striving for is neutrality. When we get to neutrality, that's when the physical body functions the best in this realm, and we are more aligned to go vertical, if you will, to connect with our higher realm,
our truest self,
all the way up to source consciousness, God, whatever word you use for it. So when you talk about a Hitler, or you talk about Mother Teresa, and I don't want to go down that rabbit hole because I think she's over here, but that's just...
Oh no, I will say that Mother Teresa, well, some of her last words were she felt basically had no relationship with God anymore.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm sorry, you give your life to the poor, but if you have no love, then it's because you're no longer living from the one who lives inside you.
Well,
so that was just works and nothing else.
I will not say the controversial thing I'm thinking right now.
Because you think she's evil and Satan on the planet.
Well, pretty
much close. I know.
I think she was actually part of child trafficking too, but
she probably could have been. God help me. I'm so sorry for all you people out there that are actually moving in devastation right now. And you have Mother Teresa. Excuse me, Mother Teresa was little. Mother Teresa on pedestal.
Yeah.
Remember, we're convoluting everything we can just to make you. This is why, because you need to be provoked to a new thought.
Yes.
Because you've believed the same thing for so long. You need somebody to come in and put a wrench in your work so you can go, well, I don't know what I believe. If you're saying I don't know what I believe, then you're at the best place you've ever been in your entire life. Because I've been there.
And
it's awesome.
And we are serving our purpose here.
And that happened to you. We're not going to do this, but that happened to you when you had the issue with your leg and you had everything you believed come to a halt and you had to make a turn and go, wait, I have to be open to something new. For your body to be well, and so her mind to be well, and everything. So and you're in a good spot.
And then I had the experience to back it up. I had the experiential knowledge to it wasn't
it's
somebody
personal.
Yes, somebody wasn't saying it to me. It was downloaded straight from God, whatever words you want to use. But so I had that as well. So that benefit, and it took me getting slapped around to be able to see that, and we're just barely slapping you around.
Yeah, and she didn't have to be slapped around. She chose to be slapped around because she was so dogmatic in what she believed, which is might be where you are.
And I would
now.
say that the higher level of me, a higher consciousness in this 15-dimensional time-space continuum.
It might be 1,000 dimensions for all she knows, but that's okay.
I've been told, like you say, God tells you stuff all the time. God told me it's 15, so I'm going with it.
It's 15.
I'm not arguing with God. God told me it's 15. We're going with the 1, 5.
And for the religious people, that's triple grace. 5, 5, and 5. So you should be happy too. But I have no clue where we were.
I don't either.
Let's see, dimensions. I asked you about portals. You said no, this is not a portal.
No, it's not a portal
dimensions.
Because the portals exist. I will say that.
Yeah, I believe
portals
that,
exist.
But what? Oh, yeah, that's right.
believe
You're saying portals
exist-
open up to where there's the.
I believe portals exist inside of us.
Is that the dark side on the the outward portal? So that goes to that where they enter in, and
it's
what's
not dark side. It's just the thing. It's a door. It's
so like where the aliens exist.
The aliens exist right here on this planet.
Okay, I'm sorry I opened that up at the last minute. But I'm saying, because back to what I was saying regarding bringing in that principalities and rulers and the evil of the world has been absolved at the cross.
Oh, I remember what.
And that is no longer something that people who know who they are have to be concerned about.
I agree with that.
So that's why it's odd to me when I hear people talking about these things that are trying to control the world. So how can they be controlling the world if they've been absolved? It's not just my believing that they've been absolved. It's the truth that they have been absolved. So how do we? This will be the next show. But how do we rectify that?
Okay, I have some ideas.
Yeah,
I have some ideas. Like I was talking about is and finish the thought about the positivity, the positive, the negative, and neutrality is the goal. Because when we're in neutrality, we have that direct line. We don't have to do this, but those exist in this 3D continuum. They exist, and so there are people that do bad things in the world
they're not in alignment.
that there are people that do that bad things, and they're over here and they're oscillating over here.
Anyway, we thank you again for joining us. It's always an honor that you're trusting us with your time, and that we're now inside your head. And if you have had any kind of new thought provoked, we'd love for you to visit us at transformyouremotions.com and just give us some ideas on how you've been provoked to change. We welcome your thoughts. We don't welcome hate mail, but we do love you. And we'll see you in the next show.
Thank you for joining Your New Day with Donna Reiners and Dr. Cammie Owen. We look forward to seeing you next time. Remember, we solve all the world's problems, or maybe just one, and maybe it's yours. Until soon.